Buongiorno from the Sicilian Sacred Diet Plan, another YouTube video for you guys. I'm Sandra Camarada, MD.
And I'm Giovanni Campanile, MD. We're husband and wife team that we've written the book, The Sicilian Secret Diet Plan. And today we're talking about the wonderful benefits of mushrooms in a dish that Sandra is going to prepare.
And we're going to make risotto, and we're going to make a risotto from the Sicilian Secret Diet style. We're going to eliminate some of the ingredients. I'm going to tell you what, and we're going to add other ingredients. I'm going to tell you which one. So we're going to make a secret Sicilian diet risotto. This is not a recipe that you're going to find in the book, so pay attention. So we're going to make our beautiful risotto today. And risotto comes from the northern part of Italy. But as everything else, the Sicilians have done very, very well. We have incorporated all the recipes that came from others and made them ours. So what I'm going to do today that is different, I'm going to take the butter out, and I'm going to use what we trust the most, our best fat, the only fat that we use, the extra virgin olive oil. So that is one change. And in order to help with that switch, I'm going to create a little bit of a mushroom cream that I'm going to add to my risotto together with the chopped up mushrooms. We're going to use the mushrooms. We're going to create a side dish that we're going to incorporate into the risotto. So I'm going to teach you how to make Funghi Trifolati, which are a side dish that you can add to all your other meats or fish or just a regular wild rice or Asian grains. And that is a good thing to have. That keeps very well in the refrigerator for 5 days, so you can warm it up and use it again. And always good in sandwiches, very, very good. So we're gonna use an Italian rice, specific for risotto, the Carnaroli Risotto. And we're gonna use instead of the chicken broth that you've seen and watched us making in our previous YouTube, I'm gonna use a vegetable broth. And remember when I told you how never discard any of the pieces of the vegetables? That is the vegetable broth that I made. And then I keep it in the freezer, so I'm not sure what kind of vegetables are in there, but it tastes delicious and it will enhance the flavor of our main vegetables today. So we're gonna use an onion, like always, for a risotto. We're gonna use a little bit of garlic for our Funghi Trifolati. We're gonna be using parsley. So we're gonna be chopping an onion. After the onion is nicely golden, we're gonna add our rice and add a little bit of wine. Let the wine evaporate. In this broth right now, I'm going to add the stems of the mushrooms for flavor. We're gonna just take it out before we add it to the rice. These stems, we're not gonna take it out. We're gonna chop them up together with the mushrooms. the dry mushrooms. They're gonna be placed in water. So they come alive again. They were dried. Now we put the water back, and we're going to incorporate these mushrooms into our overall risotto. We're gonna put half of our mushrooms into a blender, creating the cream that I was talking to you about. And in the end, of course, always, Parmesan cheese, Parmigiano-Reggiano, aged over time. And that is gonna give us the beautiful coming together of everything in the creaminess of the starch from the rice and the cheese. And then we're gonna add the parsley in the end.
So mushrooms are an amazing plant. It's the only produce where you can get vitamin D from, which is quite good. And it's full of minerals and protein and fiber, and it's actually been shown in studies to help offset certain diseases, major diseases like heart disease, cancer, cognitive impairment, and Alzheimer's disease. So mushrooms are very much a health food where it can offset some of the problems with these chronic degenerative diseases.
And recent studies have shown that actually mushrooms do help with depression. Depression is one of the most common diseases all over the world, 4.3% of all diseases, and continues to be the major cause of disability all over the world. So if we can get people to eat mushrooms, we can actually offset some of the symptoms of depression.
The various types of mushrooms are, shiitake, portobello, cremini, oyster, inaki, beech, maitake. These are all different types of mushrooms, but they all have some common benefits. And one of the common benefits is that they are very significantly anti-neoplastic. That means they can kill cancer cells and they can prevent cancer cells from multiplying, which is quite amazing for a food. It's hypotensive. That means it lowers blood pressure. It also has it's a good source of beta-glucan, which is a soluble fiber that helps reduce cholesterol. So by lowering cholesterol naturally, you avoid atherosclerosis, heart disease like heart attacks, strokes. It's a rich source of vitamins. Like I said, vitamin D, the only produce source of vitamin D, but also a source of other vitamins like B vitamins. Copper, it's a very good source of copper that's good for the bones. Potassium, it's a super source of potassium, and potassium is even more important than sodium as far as blood pressure is concerned and vascular health. And it's also, as I mentioned earlier, great for brain health. There was a study done in Singapore that in patients and participants who ate more than 2 cups of mushrooms had a 50% decreased risk of developing a type of dementia called mild cognitive impairment, which is quite significant. We don't have a drug that can do that.
Pretty impressive. And same thing with the studies done with depression. Just eating twice a week some mushrooms improve the symptoms of depression quite significantly.
And for cancer, there are multiple studies that have shown the beneficial effects of mushrooms on cancer. And they can reduce the amount of cancer cells by up to 45%. And mushrooms are a powerful source of ergothioneine, which is a very powerful antioxidant that specifically reduces the ability of cancer cells to grow.
And they have more than any other plant.
Yeah, this ergothioneine. Now, for gut health, the mushroom polysaccharides that are very abundant in mushrooms more than any other plant, and they promote the healthy bacteria in our gut, which is something we talk a lot about. So by eating some mushroom on a regular basis, you actually promote the mix of good bacteria in your microbiome. And it's also, just as a final conclusion of health benefits, it helps diabetes. It's antiviral, so it helps cold and flu viruses. It's very good for immunity, and it's used therapeutically sometimes to offset the side effects of chemotherapy. That's how powerful it can be.
So that's why we're so excited today to give you a recipe for a really, like we said all the time, food is medicine. This is a particularly good medicine. So try to remember, have mushrooms a little bit at least twice a week. And the good thing is that any of the mushrooms that are available in your supermarket or your your farmer's market gives you enough quality mushrooms that will help with all the benefits that we just listed before. So you don't have to search for any exotic mushrooms for that.
But we do forage for mushrooms with our son. You have to know what you're doing if you forage for mushrooms, because there are some mushrooms that are poisonous and they can cause fulminant liver failure if you eat them, so you have to be very careful. But our son has a farm, he's been on our podcast, and he regularly, him and his wife, regularly forage for mushrooms, and when we're down there, we forage with him.
And this is actually, the dry mushrooms that you see here that I'm going to be using in the recipe. There are 3 different kinds of mushrooms that they foraged and they dried, and we're going to add it to our regular mushrooms. And that will intensify the flavor of our great risotto. Risotto con I funghi.
I'm very excited. This is one of my favorite dishes in the world.
And then look at all the good things it's gonna do for you. It's gonna help your brain, which I need for you to stay healthy for a while, and everything else that we discussed before. So, bye.
Unbelievable.
This is really good.
The combination of the rice and the mushrooms is perfect.
A really good dish.
We have another taste.
And more health.
Excellent.
Dalla mia cucina alla tua cucina, con amore.
Grazie and thank you.